9 years of investment are coming down to 4 episodes, and the biggest anxiety hanging over the finale isn't what happens to Eleven and the gang, but do the Duffer Brothers have enough time to wrap this all up without rushing it?
That is the crucial tension, isn't it? And we finally have the hard data we need to really analyze it. We're diving deep into the official run times for the last 4 episodes of Stranger Things Season 5.
The ones Ross Duffer just dropped.
Exactly, the ones he announced on December 22nd. So our mission today is to break down these timings and see how they stack up against, the biggest, wildest fan theories for the end. We need to understand the numbers, but also what those numbers actually mean for the pacing of this whole endgame.
Okay, let's unpack this scorecard. The final 4 episodes are split. Volume 2 drops on Christmas Day, so that's episodes 5, 6, and 7.
And then the series finale hits on New Year's Eve, December 31st, 8 p.m. Eastern. These runtimes are locked in, and people have some feelings about them.
So let's lay out the precise data.
Right. Episode 5, Shock Jock, is 1 hour, 8 minutes. Episode 6, Escape from Camazotz, comes in at 1 hour, 15 minutes.
Which makes it the 3rd longest of the season.
It does. Then you have Episode 7, The Bridge, which is the shortest of the final batch at 1 hour, 6 minutes. And then the finale, Episode 8, is just a full-on movie, 2 hours and 8 minutes.
What immediately jumped out to me was the fan reaction to Episode 6. An hour and 15 minutes is a long time, but a lot of people felt, shortchanged. Why?
It's all about the hype, really. Ross Duffer specifically called Episode 6 the biggest of Volume 2. And he added that the performances make him cry every time he watches the episode.
When you say something like that, you set expectations pretty high.
You really do. It created this idea that I had to break the 90-minute barrier. So the fact that it's 75 minutes felt like a letdown to some, even though, objectively, it's still a very long episode.
I think you have to compare this to Season 4 to really get the fan anxiety here. Season 4 was just known for these massive episodes.
Oh, consistently. Almost every chapter was over an hour and 15, and the shortest was still, an hour and 3 minutes.
And it needed that space. They were juggling the Russia story, California, Hawkins, plus all the Vecna backstory.
And that comparison brings us to a really fascinating insight. The consensus among a lot of commentators is that the shorter runtimes for Season 5 might actually be a brilliant strategic move.
So instead of a lack of time, it's a feature, not a bug.
Exactly. It's a signal that they've intentionally trimmed the fat.
You mean avoiding that feeling from Season 4 where some episodes felt a little bloated? Like we had to check in on someone in a prison cell for 10 minutes.
Precisely. Season 5 is all about Hawkins. It's the final battle. By keeping these episodes around that 70-minute mark, they're prioritizing just rapid, impactful action, quality over quantity. Every single minute of that episode 6 is going to be pure narrative momentum.
Okay, so if shorter runtimes mean less wasted screen time, what does that mean for the action we get right out of the gate? Let's start with Episode 5, Shock Jock. Frank Darabont directing. That title alone hints at something intense.
And that Shock Jock title ties directly into the biggest Will Byers theory for Episode 5. The thinking is that the action picks up right from the Volume 1 cliffhanger.
With the gang trying to maybe shock a Demogorgon or part of the hive mind?
Exactly. But the theory is that this shock, which is meant to hurt the enemy, actually opens a door for Vecna to achieve a reverse possession of Will.
A reverse possession? Wait, break that down for me.
The idea is that Vecna, or the Mind Flayer, has been dormant inside Will since Season 2. It's that connection he always feels. When the group sends this massive energy surge into the Upside Down, it could push Vecna's consciousness directly into Will's body.
Using him as a spy.
A spy, a puppet. And the most tragic part of the theory is that Will get a single moment of clarity. Just enough time to scream, "Run!" to Mike and the others before Vecna completely takes over. It lines up perfectly with that haunting trailer line, "You're gonna help me one last time."
That would be a heartbreaking way to kick off the end. Okay, let's move to Episode 6, Escape from Camazotz. Sean Levy directing, the guy who gave us Dear Billy. The expectations are huge. So, what exactly is Camazotz?
And that's the key to this whole theory. Camazotz is a direct reference to the book A Wrinkle in Time. It's a planet ruled by this evil, disembodied brain, a sort of ultimate mind control where everything is just perfectly ordered. It's a chilling metaphor for where Max is right now.
So Max is trapped in this Camazotz mindscape, and the whole episode is about her getting out.
That's the theory. It details this incredible high-energy duel sequence. You have Max working with Holly's consciousness, trying to escape this mind prison to get vital information to the gang.
Information about Henry and his memories.
Right. But at the same time, Vecna realizes she's about to escape and sends physical demogorgons to her hospital room to kill her comatose body.
So you get this crazy cross-cut action scene. Luke is fighting for his life to protect Max's body in the real world, while Max is in this insane mental battle. That would explain the emotional weight Ross Duffer mentioned.
And this is where Kali, or 8, could come in. Because if Max escapes, that information needs to get to 11. And Kali is the one character with powers linked to mental manipulation, illusion.
And we have 2 big series for her, right?
Yeah.
She's either a traitor or a mentor.
Well, we've heard these hints about a double cross. It's possible Vecna orchestrated her escape from the lab years ago, setting her up as a Trojan horse. But the more compelling theory for me is that she's a mentor.
Teaching 11 new tricks.
Exactly. Using her illusion powers to teach 11 new ways to fight Vecna in the mindscape. Since Kali can create illusions in the real world, the idea is she passes that knowledge on, giving 11 a whole new psychological weapon against Henry.
Which would be a vital piece for the finale.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the end of Volume 2, Episode 7, The Bridge. And again, I'm stuck on that runtime. 1 hour, 6 minutes. For a penultimate episode, that feels short.
But that's the whole point. It doesn't need a long build-up because episodes 5 and 6 did the emotional legwork. Ross Duffer teased that this one has a massive cliffhanger that makes the 6-day wait brutal.
Brutal.
He also said it's the most emotional chapter of the season, besides the finale. So you combine intense emotion, a short runtime, and a brutal cliffhanger.
It almost has to be a major character death. That's the only thing that fits.
It feels almost certain, something designed to maximize the pain of that 1-week wait.
Okay, let's get into the predictions because they are all over the place. Who are the most likely candidates for this cliffhanger?
Well, you have a few big ones. First, there's the Enzo's curse theory, which is hanging over Robin and maybe Vicky.
The Enzo's curse. Explain that.
It's basically a narrative rule. Anytime a character makes a very specific plan for the future, like a date.
Like Hopper's dinner reservation at Enzo's in Season 3.
Exactly. It's a signal that their future is about to be canceled. Robin specifically mentions a date at Enzo's with Vicky. The fear is that the writers only put that in to show us what she's about to lose.
And then, of course, there's the big one, the Steve Harrington death theory.
Which has been around since Season 1. This time it centers on shock jock. People are connecting Robin's line, "Unless you want to fry," with Jonathan wearing a shirt that says "The Fall."
So the theory is he gets electrocuted and falls from the radio tower. A self-sacrifice.
That's the one. But I have to say, the most universally traumatizing theory I've seen for episode 7 doesn't involve Steve at all.
Oh.
It predicts that a fully possessed Will, taken over by Vecna in episode 5, accidentally kills his own brother, Jonathan, during this bridge sequence.
Wow. That would be dark. It would create such a personal reason for the group to hate Vecna beyond just saving the world. It's a betrayal of the show's core family.
Precisely. It sets up an intensely tragic finale where Will has to be saved not just from Vecna, but from the guilt of what he was forced to do.
And after that brutal cliffhanger, we finally get to the main event. Episode 8, a 2-hour and 8-minute movie getting a theatrical release. This is the monumental conclusion.
And the structure of that finale is key. The runtime isn't just 2 hours of action. It's almost certainly inflated by a very long epilogue. We're predicting maybe 30, even 40 minutes after the main battle is over.
Like the piggyback epilogue in Season 4, but much, much longer. It has to be. You need to give every single character a final moment to tie a bow on 9 years of story.
And that epilogue has to resolve some key mysteries. Like, for instance, the return of Eddie Munson. Fans desperately want Joseph Quinn back.
But he's dead. How do you do that without undermining his sacrifice?
Well, it would have to be something like a flashback, or maybe a vision Vecna inflicts on Dustin as one last psychological blow, or just a quiet, nostalgic moment for the Hellfire Club. That closure is something a lot of people feel is necessary.
Okay, and then there's the engagement ring. We know Jonathan has it. Who is it for?
The popular theory, the one you see everywhere, is that it's for Hopper to propose to Joyce. It feels right, it's romantic closure. But if you really dig into the evidence, it points much more strongly to Jonathan proposing to Nancy.
Wait, stronger than Hopper and Joyce? How?
It comes down to one conversation. Murray had that long talk with Jonathan specifically about his shared trauma with Nancy, and he tells him to act on it. The ring shows up right after that very targeted advice. With Hopper and Joyce, there's no object tied to their narrative urgency in the same way. The ring is a direct payoff to Murray's warning.
That makes perfect sense. It's about following the breadcrumbs. Okay, finally, let's talk deep lore. Dimension X in Vecna's final form.
The theories here suggest the Upside Down isn't a parallel world, but more of a pocket dimension or a limbo. But the most intense theory is that Vecna is transforming into a Dracolich.
For those of us who aren't D&D experts, what is a Dracolich? Why is that a big deal?
It's the ultimate end boss. A Dracolich is an undead, immortal dragon, basically. It's what happens when a powerful being uses ancient magic to seek god-level power. This suggests Vecna isn't just trying to win, he's trying to ascend. It connects right back to Nancy's vision in season 4 of that massive creature with the gaping mouth consuming Hawkins. The human Henry Creel is gone. We're facing a monster.
And speaking of massive swings, we have to talk about the most controversial theory of all, the time reset.
Right. This theory suggests the ending involves Eleven using some new power to go back in time to 1983 to the moment Will is taken and preventing the Upside Down from ever breaking through. The catch is the survivors all keep their memories.
I mean, that's a clean ending, a happy ending, but doesn't that feel like a massive cop-out?
It's a huge risk. You'd erase Vecna, but you'd also erase 9 years of character development. All the sacrifices, all the growth these characters had because of the trauma, it would all be meaningless. Eddie's death, everyone they lost, it would all be for nothing. It's the biggest narrative gamble the Duffer Brothers could possibly take.
So we've covered the runtimes, the action shock jock, the escape from Camazotz, the brutal death predictions for the bridge, and this potential time-bending Dracolich finale. It is an incredibly dense, high-pressure conclusion.
So, given what we know, this clear shift from the long scattered episodes of season 4 to a tight, action-heavy final soon, then what stands out to you? Does a finale that trims the fat feel more satisfying than one that includes every last bit of lore? And how is that choice going to affect the emotional weight of those final 2 hours we spend with these characters, watching them try to find some kind of closure?
If you enjoy this video, click like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to the later update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end, and see you in the next video.